In the past, I was invited to come check out and attend the 2004 Furious Flower Conference by Ms. Lucille Clifton, who I had just finished writing a master's thesis on spirituality and her poems. Ironically, there was an 8 a.m. Saturday panel on spiritual elements of Black women's poetry, and I showed up at 7:30. At 7:45, the presenter came in. That would be Maida Dewar Jones, who is now one of my closest friends. But that's when we met, here at the Furious Flower Poetry Center on a Saturday morning at about 7:45 a.m., discussing what we were both very passionate about, the spiritual elements in Black women's poetics. This week, when I think about the ambiance and the special place of the Furious Flower Poetry Center, not only am I here building a syllabi, but I'm strengthening the friendships that are already here and building new community, friends, and family, definitely. I am excited for the Furious Flower resources in their complexity of Black culture, the dynamic and multifaceted natures of Black poetry being accessible to many that may not have had an opportunity to come to the center at James Madison, or those that may not have an opportunity to come directly to the Furious Flower Poetry Center. It's important because Black poetry is one of the most important lenses to understand American culture and Blackness in a diasporic context. Because what poetry does is it allows us to kind of control and manipulate time using memory and collective understanding. Many other art forms don't allow for that. And so in a very short poem, you can get a grand understanding of a specific experience over 400 years or over the history of humanity. In 1923, W.E.B. Du Bois said that all art is propaganda. And in our current cultural context, and by cultural context I mean American cultural context, we have benefited and have also been erased through the curation of anthologies and multicultural canons. I think what the Furious Flower Poetry Center does best is, again, show the complexity of Black poetry without privileging one above the other. So you can find spoken word art here, you can find very experimental Black arts here, along with very traditional and very formalist Black poetics that draw on older traditions that are more traditionally familiar in the American canon. And so in that way, the Furious Flower Poetry Center and the archives here really tell a complex story of American poetry and the possibilities and the dexterity of poetry.